welcome to the fourth and final game of the evening. Up this time is Attack of the Mutant Penguins. Right, so time for a bit of a history lesson because this game hails from the classic decade of the 90s.
You can tell because the title font is made of ooze.
Yes, it is very 90s. And this comes to us from one of the obscurest halls of the gaming sector. That is the Atari Jaguar. I mean, not the most. That'd probably be like the Jaguar CD or the CDI or, something like that. But still, the Atari Jaguar. Not every day we feature something from that system, even when we delve into the emulated classics here. Now, Wikipedia describes this game as a tower defense game. I have to disagree with that on the bounds that the tower defense genre didn't get codified until about 10 years after this game came out.
So
tower defense,
proto-tower defense?
Yes, something like that. Because I can see where they got the classification here, because you can see the game on screen and it looks kind of like a tower defense game, one of the Avatar controlled ones, but it's not really a tower defense game because it's missing a key part, and it's in the name. This game has no towers. You're not setting up towers. There are things you can set up in this game, but they're not towers.
Really, towers is a state of mind.
Yes, I guess that would have to be the case for that genre application to actually be accurate. But this is more of a top-down strategy, quote-unquote, game. I say that because I think it wants to think it's a strategy game, but it's not really a strategy game either. I suppose I'll have to explain that, because there are elements of strategy here. Okay, so getting into the actual premise of the game, you are being attacked by mutant penguins from space. Except they're not actually penguins. They are penguins in disguise. I don't know. I think they saw penguins on a broadcast and thought they were the dominant species of Earth. And so they chose that form in order to invade.
That world might be a better place.
Maybe, but the thing is, they got some of the details wrong, and the point is, this is to explain why the penguins you're fighting in the game have stupid hats. Those are the mutant penguins because they misread Earth customs. And, Petty is about to lose this, because he probably doesn't know how this game actually works.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll get to it, but I have to explain this. Just keep playing.
I mean, why would he know how this works? We just got here.
Agreed. Because, it's a bit thick in that sense, too. But it's, it's all, in the background materials, surprisingly. Because that thing that the penguins are marching towards, both the good and the bad penguins. Yes, there are good regular penguins, because apparently penguins in this universe are at least sentient, and they don't like the mutant penguins attacking the Earth, so they have decided to align with your avatar, which are the characters of Bernard and Rodney. They're intergalactic freelance heroes out to defend Earth against the penguins. Yeah, they don't look like anything except, red and green blobs. Anyway, so how the mutant penguins are actually going about conquering Earth is they are using a device called the Doom Scale. That is that, scale thing with the fucking angry face that the penguins are marching towards, both good and bad.
And you have to make sure that the good penguins outweigh the bad ones.
Yes. And how do you go about doing that? There are 3 methods. 1, the good penguins will square off against the bad penguins. And you can see that when the good penguin and bad penguin square off, and then they get into the cartoon dust cloud. That'll kill the penguin. Actually, I think there's technically 4, but the second way is you see like those contraptions on the ground. I think Petty passed one. You see these gremlin things walking around. You place them into the contraptions, and they will build it, and they will create a trap that will kill a certain amount of penguins before it breaks down and you have to rebuild it. That's probably the most strategic element as this thing gets, quite honestly. The third way is special items. So there are also chests found strewn across the battlefield. You have to put a gremlin in that, and you will either get 2 things. 1, a special item, like here Petty just got dynamite, and you will use that to blow up the penguins. You only get like 1, so use it wisely. The other special item is a glue stick, which sticks to penguins. And the primary way you get rid of the penguins is you've got to get your character's weapon. In I think Bernard's case, it's a pan. In Rodney, the green one here, it's a bat. Once again, you get that from the crates or the treasure chests or whatever the fuck they are. You have to put the gremlin in. You have to find the letters that spell out the weapon, pan or bat or what have you. And when you get that, then you will go to the penguins and you will hit them on the head. And that unleashes the power orbs. And then you have to get at least 5 power orbs to charge up the weapon if you get without swinging it again, by the way.
That's a lot of steps.
Yes, it is. That is why Petty fans have been having problems with this game.
This makes my brain hurt. I can see why I didn't own a Jaguar as a child.
Yeah. I'm not done explaining this, by the way.
Jesus.
There's more. Because if you get 10 power orbs in a row, then you get you are able to throw the weapon. You get the distance version. Also contained in the crates are also special items like a sword that allows you to unleash a spin for 10 seconds, willy-nilly. So the main goal of the game is dispense with the strategy shit, get your weapon, and start whacking penguins with it. It's also, when the power orbs spread out, there will be 5, but they will often go off the field. So you're probably going to have to whack 2 or 3 of them in order to get enough power orbs to actually charge your goddamn weapon.
And you have to charge the weapon you have to do it all at once. You have to hit the guys and then.
Yeah, there's a meter that comes up that will show you how far you are along to charging and how much of a charge you have. Thankfully, when you do get a charge, it won't go away unless you start actually swinging the weapon. So, yeah, it's like a tower defense game, except it's nothing like a goddamn tower defense game. when I actually lay it out all on the table. And so how does it all work out? Convoluted, in case you couldn't tell. It's a long way, but once you actually understand what's going on in the game, it becomes much easier to play. Does it actually become fun to play? Not really, because things don't really change level to level, except like the environment. What you're doing on level 1 is what you're doing on like level 5. Just maybe in a different arrangement, or like the actual hazards on the level change in its actual build configuration. So that means this game also gets pretty repetitive pretty quickly. Also worth noting, in order to break up the monotony, after you beat a level, you will get access to one of 3 mini games, bonus games, however you want to define it. That is randomly selected. One is like a Space Invaders clone. The other is like this cannon game where you're trying to blow up penguins on an iceberg. And the last is like Penguin Tennis, I want to say. I don't remember. Or no, it was like a sideways shooter kind of thing where you're trying to line up the no, it's like a faux light gun shooter. I'm remembering correctly. None of the mini games are terribly good. The point of them is, depending on your performance, that's how many penguins you will get bonus for the next level. I guess one of the few things that does change level to level is like on level 2 and forward, the penguins will be in a pen instead of just coming out automatically, and you do have to unlock them. Yeah. Also worth noting, I'm not I was having some emulation problems with the game.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. One of the big ones I was which is unusual for Pico, because their emulation efforts, like the non-DOS box ones, actually are pretty decent. But I wasn't able to load up a save in this one. And I couldn't tell you why. Because there didn't seem to be like an internal save function. Also worth noting, while this game did use the Jaguar controller, it was on the simpler end of the equation. That is to say, it only uses 3 buttons. So it only used the main 3 buttons of the Jaguar controller, and not that goddamn phone pad.
Well, that's probably good.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that makes quite a few Intellivision games fucking incomprehensible. Because, I don't know, for a brief period of time in the early 80s, people thought phones were the way to go in terms of designing a gamepad.
I mean, to some extent, the more buttons you have, the more advanced your controls are, is a logical statement.
Right, but we're talking about the early 80s. How advanced were you really shooting for when the games were like Pac-Man and Centipede?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. It was not a totally correct theory. Yeah. It's just, I feel like I was just saying, I think that's the theory they were operating under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, Petty Fan is demonstrating what, one of my main frustrations with the game. the orbs go off screen or off the path very quickly. Also, that machine there turns the penguins into actual mutants, and they will weigh 3 times as much. Yeah, so you kind of want to prioritize their destruction first if they get that far. And so the package here on Steam comes in 2 varieties. You got the emulated Jaguar version, which is the version you should play, because that's got the controller support. And it's got the DOSBox version, because this game did get a DOS port called just Mutant Penguins. But as far as I could tell, this was keyboard only, and this is not a game that worked well with a keyboard. As awkward and gangly it is with the control pad at times, it's just borderline unplayable with a keyboard. Because, the keyboard keys don't really offer the precision you want versus a D-pad. Yeah. And you are... And you will also notice when you actually kill the penguins, they explode in a bloody mess. Another hallmark of the fucking 90s. Because let's be honest, that is such a 90s thing. Like, this entire game's premise is just reeking of the 90s. It's not necessarily good or bad, it's just the style of the time. Anyway, so I suppose I should get to pricing here. This game usually clocks in at $7.99. Though I think you can get it for like $3 or $4 on a sale. Is it worth it? Even at that price, I have a hard time recommending this because, and you can go back and like read reviews from the 90s onwards. Nobody was terribly favorable on Attack of the Mutant Penguins. And like, not just the critics, but like the audience, because even when the Jaguar comes up in conversation, like when the failed systems comes up, you will get, what are the games worth playing on it? Because every system has those. Even down to like the biggest stinkers, like the Virtual Boy.
Wii U.
Yes, the Wii U has had more when it was alive than it does now. But even then, it still has like Xenoblade Chronicles Cross and Nintendo Land.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, when you talk about the Atari Jaguar and the games worth playing, things like the port of Doom, or Wolfenstein 3D, or Tempest 2000 come up. Iron Soldier comes up quite a lot. My point is, there are those games that define the system. And even though this game is weird as shit, even for the 90s, it did not help define the system. Hell, not even in the bad Atari Jaguar games. Like fucking Fight for Life and Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy, does this game really come up? That's because it's just, when you get down to it, thoroughly uninteresting gameplay-wise once you figure out how it all works. This is a game that's really getting by on both novelty, bizarreness, and obfuscation. Like, there's a lot of creativity in its premise and everything here, but its actual gameplay might have been better if it were an actual tower defense game. It's probably a good 10, 15 years too soon for the world. Because as it is, it's a pretty game. Petty, you've been playing the game for the stream. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't ever want to play this game again. You're a monster for making me play this.
I had to review it.
You could have saved me the trouble and just had make it trailer footage.
You know that's not how. If the game's cheap enough, and it was in this case, like, you will play the game. And don't test my patience. I might make you play it for a let's play.
I'll fucking start drinking.
Anyway, so yeah, that was Attack of the Mutant Penguins. Don't buy this game. Just leave it in the dustbin of history as, most of the rest of society does. Like, seriously, the only time, like, outside of this review, you'll probably hear of Attack of the Mutant Penguins is if somebody's going into the Jaguar system in general. That's really when I only see it talked about. Like, here are games you can collect for the Atari Jaguar. Some might frame it as an underappreciated gem. Don't believe them. Those are lies and slander. So with that in mind, that concludes this installment of the Fragments of Silicon review. So coming up on the week ahead, so we will have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents this Wednesday, and no Friday show this week. So yay to that, I suppose. But coming up on Wednesday, we'll be having Juan P. of Insular Games. And we will be talking about gravitators. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully you are as well. So until then, I shall wish you good gaming.